Hey guys, today I'm going to take you on a journey getting my very first Dexa scan. And I'm going to talk a little bit about why I'm choosing to do a Dexa scan at the age of 33 and why I personally think it's important. So I'm going to take you along the journey today. My name is Sarah, and I'm a certified holistic nutrition consultant specializing in women's health. So if you like how that sounds, you can subscribe and follow along the journey. So, the definition of a DEXA scan is a super precise imaging test that measures your body's composition, things like bone mineral density, muscle mass, and body fat distribution. So, it's basically the gold standard for getting an accurate representation of what's happening inside your body, like with muscles and fat and skeleton. And oftentimes, it's recommended to women over the age of 65 to prevent osteoporosis. And I just think that's such a shame that younger people, men and women, are not getting DEXA scans. I'm going to tell you some of the reasons I'm getting it. First of all, I want to get a baseline for my bone mineral density at the age of 33 because I want to walk through pregnancy and postpartum and menopause. I want to know where kind of my baseline is at still a young-ish age. And that way, when things fluctuate throughout pregnancy and my life, I can kind of train and plan and supplement accordingly. So another reason why I'm doing a DEXA scan, I actually want to know what my body fat and muscle percentage is. Now, a lot of like physical training spaces will do it for like physique and fat loss. Kind of to see like where their clients are at so they can lose more fat. But in my case, I actually want to make sure I'm not losing too much body fat for fertility purposes. I have really been enjoying working out lately. It's just been helping my blood sugar, my mind, my body, and my spirit. And I don't necessarily think I'm losing weight, but I want to be sure that I actually am maintaining a healthy amount of body fat because as women, we need body fat. We need some fluff on us to reproduce because it's signaling to our bodies that we are safe to do so. And I also want to see how my muscle is doing. I've been lifting weights and it's been such a gift, and I would love to see like how my body is kind of reshaping, restructuring itself. So all in all, it's okay if you do this for a vanity purpose, for recomposition to look a certain way, but you could also do it for holistic reasons as well. And that's what I'm choosing to do. I want to make sure that I'm maintaining a very healthy weight because in the past, honestly, you look at the scale, and the scale is not an amazing determination of accuracy, right? Because you can step on the scale and stay the same weight or gain weight, but it's actually you're gaining more muscle, which is healthy for the body. So stepping on the scale is not really useful. And also in my history, I have a tendency to be so fixated on a goal that sometimes like I would forget my fertility goal and I would go after like a physical fitness physique goal. So I want to keep myself balanced and not kind of slip into old patterns of like kind of disordered eating and working out. And I'm just so excited to see the composition of my body in this current state of my life so I can love it throughout the stages that I walk. I'm actually going to drive into the city today to Minneapolis, and I'm going to go to Dexa Fit, and I'll take you along with me. And then I can't wait to share my results with you after. I'm here in Dexa Fit, Minneapolis. I learned that they have locations all around the country, which is pretty cool. And they don't just do DEXA scans, they can do scans like VO2 max and other cool fitness testings. Honestly, the DEXA scan took only 3 minutes or so. I just laid down on this table, this x-ray wand kind of passed over me, and then my results popped up on the screen. The nice technician, Sam, she went over my results with me and answered any questions. All right, so I am back post DEXA scan. It is a different day. I had things to do the day of the DEXA scan, and yes, I got bangs in between. But I'm really excited to share my findings of my DEXA scan. It's actually not what I thought it was going to be, but in the best way possible. And I felt like I was so educated from this process. So keep in mind that different places do DEXA scans a bit differently. Some places, the DEXA scan is just the bone mass. This place, Dexa Fit, I'm not sponsored by them for this video by any means. I actually just found them through a Google search, but I realized that they're also nationwide. They have a lot of different locations. But Dexa Fit's really cool because you can go in and you get, bone mass, muscle, fat, and it kind of gives you it all on a graph, and it kind of educates you and sees where you're at. And you can also go in and do testing for like VO2 max and stuff like that. So it's a really cool facility. But when my results popped up on the screen right after you get your Dexa scan, you go over your results, as I said. And when it first popped up, I saw body score C plus, and I was like, my heart was racing, and I was like, what's going on? Like maybe I have too much visceral fat, like around my organs. Like I was kind of like anxious. But she was like, okay, when you're younger, it grades you a lot harsher. So I was like, okay, what's going on? I thought honestly it was a fat thing because I've struggled with like weight gain, weight loss a lot within my life, but it turns out I actually don't need to lose more fat. And in fact, I actually shouldn't lose that much more from a fertility perspective, because you want to have some nourishment and fluff, if you will, on your body for reproduction. Not too much, but you do want to have some. So my goals are strictly fertility and sustainability, whereas others might be more vanity, and that's okay. But anyway, my visceral fat looked great. I didn't have like a lot of fat around my organs. I had fat in the parts where it's appropriate for a healthy female, which is more of the lower body because of how we make estrogen. But anyway, the reason why I got a C plus for the overall body score was because I needed more muscle. And I was kind of shocked to hear that, because I've been working out for like pretty rigorously, but only for the past like 6 months. Not even 6 months, maybe 4 months. And before that, I was barely doing any resistance training at all. So honestly, the score probably would have been a lot worse if I were to have done it before my weightlifting journey. But yeah, it definitely was a wake-up call that I needed more muscle on my body, because muscle is not just about, aesthetic or, you know, it's not just about vanity. I mean, muscle, when we build muscle, it helps us with our metabolism. It helps us regulate our hormones. And that's why, as a holistic practitioner, nutrition consultant, I really urge people to begin a strength training journey, because that will help, especially things like PCOS, which I have, insulin resistance, like putting on more muscle helps with insulin resistance. So that's something I will definitely be working on. But yeah, this it's like many pages of forms, and it even shows you like if one side of your body has more muscle or fat on it than the others, like if you have imbalances. It has like scores of different types of fat. It shows like your kind of body shape. And yeah, it even shows like, the shape of your skeletal system, how many pounds of bone you have. I have 4.9 pounds of bone, which is not a lot. That's crazy. So I feel like I just learned so much just about my body. And yes, I was kind of like alarmed that I'm still kind of like, I feel like I'm like Hermione Granger and I got a C plus on a test. It's not fun to see that result. But if I didn't get this test done, I actually probably would have thought in my mind that I need to continue losing more fat and continue building muscle, but I probably would have been focused on like fat loss. But in reality, I actually need to just be focusing on muscle. So, weightlifting, but also eating adequate protein and making sure that I'm eating enough food, because I want to be cultivating a safe space for my fertility. And that means I don't want to be losing weight too quickly. And I don't even want to be working out too rigorously every single day. I need to find a balance for my personal goals. So it's cool to get this done, because you get this report and it gives you kind of just a baseline of where you're at. Oh, and it did bone density, which is very important. And mine looks really good. It was like a little bit above average. Of course, me being like a perfectionist, I wanted it to be excellent. And I was like, okay, how can I improve that? And she was like, well, after 30, you can't really improve it. You just have to maintain it. I was like, okay, boo. But I'm like, wow, how good is that for me to know this at 33 years old, to continue to strength train, strengthen my muscles, making sure I'm eating calcium, which is hard for me because I can't eat dairy. So I need to be mindful of that. And it was just also really cool to see even this picture of like where the fat is around my body. I just thought that was really cool. We'll cover up that C+. I mean, all in all, I just think it's really cool just to see where you're at. And then you can go back. I think DexaFit has packages where you can go back in like 6 months, 12 months and get rescanned and see if you're improving, which I might do because they have a location in Orlando where I live for real. We were just in Minnesota. If you're pregnant or you think you might be pregnant, a DEXA scan, you need to wait. And also, if you're still in your cycles, if you're still having periods, I would aim to do a DEXA scan in the first part of your cycle, your follicular phase. I aim to do mine like a handful of days after my period. Because that way, we retain like water and fat, and our metabolisms are so different throughout our cycle that it's best, if you can, aim for it at the beginning of your cycle. So anyway, yeah, DexaFit was really cool. Again, I'm not like sponsored. This video is not like sponsored by them, but I think they're really cool, and they have locations all around the country. It makes it really affordable. So this scan was $150. In the past, you had to like go to your doctor and say, oh, can I get a DEXA scan script? And they had to send it and you have to go, and insurance. And that probably only tested the bone density. So places like DexaFit, I feel like, are emerging. And it's cool because right when they scan you, it's AI. It just pops up. Your report just pops up and you get it. I mean, how cool is that? Yeah, places like this are emerging for just optimizing our fitness and our well-being. Just to kind of run over my personal results that are summarized. My total mass is 139, so that's how much I weigh on the scale, 139. My lean mass, my muscle, is 88 pounds. So my body fat percentage is 32.8. And my visceral fat was 0.8 pounds. Visceral fat is like the fat that's like around like the organs. You don't want much visceral fat. T-score, which is bone density, is 0.2. So yeah, that's my personal score. It's important to remember that everybody's body is different. So like, for instance, 32% body fat might be optimal for me, but it might not be optimal for somebody else. They might feel better if they're a little bit over, if they're more 40% body fat, if they're 30% body fat. Everyone looks different as well. You can look at one person and you can look like me, and then you can have somebody that looks completely different in body shape but also has a 32% body fat. So yeah, it's important to remember whatever score you get is just about going forward and optimizing our health, to make our metabolism strong and healthy, our insulin resistance strong and healthy, and to just honor the body that we've been given, and know that what's optimal for me might look so different for you on the report. So anyway, that was my experience with the DEXA report. I 100% recommend you do it. Don't just wait to get a DEXA scan when you're 65, 66 to prevent osteoporosis. Get it now to prevent osteoporosis. Get it now to see where your muscle's at. And you might just be so surprised in what you find, just like I was. So if you like this content, make sure to subscribe and leave a comment. Let me know if you've ever got a DEXA scan and what you learned from it, and if it helped you grow at all in any way. I would honestly love to know. Again, my name is Sarah, and we'll see you next time for more women's wellness content.